Good morning, everyone. This devotion is prepared for Monday, January 24th, 2022. We are in the 20th chapter of John's Gospel, and we're going to be looking at verses 11 to 18. This is part of the verses that we typically listen to and we go over during Easter time. But we're looking at it now as a process of going through John's Gospel as a series of a study to our devotion that we're doing here and looking for meaning in these bits of Scripture that we can apply not only to understand the Scripture, but to apply to our own lives in some fashion, perhaps. So today we have Jesus appearing to Mary Magdalene. And I will ask that if you do enjoy these devotions, please like and subscribe, leave a comment. We'd appreciate all that, and share. So, without further ado, let's look at John chapter 20, verses 11 to 11 to 18. Excuse me. But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head, the other at the feet. They said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabbouni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Do not hold on to me, because I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went away and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that she told them that he had said these things to her. Forgive me. Um, Here we have Mary, Peter, and the other disciple, not knowing who it was, had been there after Mary had originally came and discovered the tomb empty. They came and inspected it and went away puzzled. Verse 10, then the disciples returned to their homes. They went away not knowing what's going on, scratching their heads, confused. But Mary, even though she was the first there, she's still lingering. She's still outside the tomb, crying and worrying and wondering, where is her Lord? She bends down and looks inside and sees these angels. Here in John's Gospel, the angels show up after. They aren't in the tomb when they first enter. That's a difference from the synoptics. But they say to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And she asks them that question. They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him. And then Jesus repeats the same thing to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And at first she thinks he's a gardener, repeats back to him, "Taken away my Lord, and I don't know where they've laid him. Tell me where he is, and I will go and get him," is what she says to him. And then he simply says, "Mary." And just like the sheep know the shepherd's voice, she then realizes this is her Lord. This is her teacher, Rabbouni. Um, the in part here where she's grabbing him, that's a confusing part. I wish I could explain that, or he tells her not to grab him. I don't know what exactly that's to mean. I'm not going to belabor that one because I'm not certain what exactly was going on there. Whether he hadn't gone up, whether he ascends before he appears to Thomas and them, or what. There's different theories on that. I don't see anything in that though that we can gain any life application from, and so I'm not going to belabor that at all. I do think, though, that the question that Mary is asking here is a question that we can ask today, with the way that the world is gone and the way that the way the world and the way the church is gone. We can say, they have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him. It is a question. We can feel it alone, and we can be weeping and crying and feeling that we have lost. We have lost. But I don't think we have, and I think just like Mary, Jesus will and can and does, and has come to us in the garden and said, "Why are you crying? I'm right here beside you. I always have been. I always will be with you. No matter what the world tells you, Scripture tells us Christ is with us." And the interesting part here is, of course, that Jesus is appearing to Mary. She is a woman. She is the witness to the witnesses. She's going. Jesus is telling her to go and see the brothers and tell them what he has done and what he has said. And she goes. Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord." She is discipling to the disciples. She is the original, if we will, from the kickoff, from the point of the resurrection in John's gospel. She's the very first one to proclaim the good news that Jesus has risen from the dead. She is the primary, the one and only at that point, the one that is witnessing. And a disciple would be, well, a student, but an apostle would be one witnessing. We are witnessing to the world and telling the world, witnessing in that regard or in that definition. So Mary has a place of primacy here, and there enters in one of those conversations about where does Mary Magdalene get her name. Some think that Magdalene is a reference to the temple, Mary of the temple. So she is the first one to see the new temple, Christ's risen body. Interesting. But I think that what we get from this is the idea that even though we feel lost, we're in God's world, we're in God's garden, and God is with us. So never fear. All right, that's where I'm going to leave you at for today. We will pick up tomorrow at verse 19, and we'll go from there. We're getting close to the end of John. If you have any thoughts about whether you'd rather do Matthew or Mark's Gospels next, so we've already done Luke's, and if you want to hear that, there's, I believe there, I forget how many hundred, there are videos going through Luke's Gospel. But next we will either tackle Matthew or Mark. So again, if you have any ideas or thoughts, let me know which one you'd like to take on first. All right. With that, I'm going to let you go. Have a blessed day, and please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. We'll see you tomorrow.